Hiya and welcome to this vlog on our journey from Branston. We're going to go through today Burton on Trent and on through all the way on the Trent and Mersey to Shardlow. This is a distance of 17 miles and 6 locks, and we undertook this over about 10 days or so, a few days of which we had Kay's dad with us. He joined us for a little while when we were cruising on the Trent and Mersey. So we set off from Branston and we cruise on in towards Burton on Trent. And the first place we come to is Shardlow Marina, which is quite a tight turn to get into, but we needed fuel, so we stopped here and topped up with diesel, and we popped into the chandlery to pick up a couple of parts we needed for the engine. We needed a siphon to get the oil out of the engine because one on ours had broken, so we got one of those, and yeah, a few other bits. So then we came out of there and turned right up past the Marsden's brewery. So we stopped at Shardlow Green, or just before Shardlow Green. And took a look around Burton on Trent. So Burton on Trent is famous for its beer. In years gone by, its height in the second half of the 19th century, Burton on Trent produced a quarter of all the beer that was sold in Britain. So yeah, it was a very popular place for brewing beer. I think it's to do with the water and the chemicals in the water which favoured the brewing process. But a decline in sales in the 20th century meant that the breweries had to consolidate. So there was 20 breweries here in 1900. That went down to 8 in 1928, and to this day now there's only 3 major ones left after further consolidations and mergers. Those 3 being Bass, Einkoop, and the Marsden's Brewery. And we were moored right by the Marsden's Brewery, so I just had to pop into the brewery shop. You know, so it'd be rude not to try a few samples when you're in the town. So yeah, I went in there and got a few samples of Marsden's beer, and very nice they were too. So the following day we cruised on from Burton on Trent and went on to there's some services there at Shardlow, CRT services, so we popped in there to empty our toilet cassettes and fill it with water and get rid of our rubbish, our domestic waste. And there's quite an interesting mural on the flyover caught our eye as we went past. It's quite a long mule, been done by one of the local schools. So we passed down through a couple more locks and cruised on a few more miles onto the village of Willington, where we just managed to pull in on the last available berth on the visitors' moorings. And just here there's the old Willington power station, which is quite visible on the skyline for quite a few miles along the canal. And this sort of starts our up and down relationship with power stations on the Trent going forward. We didn't know at the time, but we have quite a lot of ups and downs with power stations. And yeah, one of those is the Trent disaster one, where we broke down right by West Burton power station on the Trent. So that's you can see that on the video, which I've put a link to. There was 13 coal-fired power stations along the Trent in the mid-80s, and then it was known as Megawatt Valley, and I think it produced 25% of the electricity that was used in England and Wales at that time. And I think there's some characteristic about the Trent River which enables the power to be generated here, as opposed to maybe like another big river like the Severn or the Thames. But I don't really know what that is, but there is some characteristic of it. But obviously now a lot of those power stations have gone. Coal-fired is no longer considered to be environmentally friendly, and some of the towers have been taken down. But Willington still survives. And what actually intrigued me was, when we got close to it, was the lattice work, which is open between probably the first 15 foot. So yeah, it's open down to the ground, and I think that's something to do with to aid the rush of cold air in, to force the warm air out, to help cool the power station. But if anybody's got any detail on that, please comment on it, because I don't know exactly what it's for. From Willington we cruise on past Mersey Marina. This is a massive complex. There's 630 berths here. There's a new walkway which has got 6 boutique retailers in it, and there's a beautiful cafe on 2 floors, and a restaurant and bar, cinema. It's a bustling destination. It's very popular with boaters, holidaymakers, with their luxury lodges, and there's also lots of casual visitors that come just to marvel at what is the largest inland marina in Europe. So that night we stopped at Stenson. It's getting towards the bank holiday now, May bank holiday, the first one, and again we just managed to get one of the last berths available on the visitors' mooring just before the lock at Stenson, and we stopped here for a few days. Our friends Chris and Alison came and visited. They stopped in the pub opposite called the Bubble Inn. There was a very unfortunate incident while we were here. There was a boat that sunk in Stenson Lock. So I don't really know the details of it, but I understand that the guy that was on the boat was a single-handed crew, and he was going up in the lock. I understand that the bow of the boat came forward, got caught underneath the top lock gate and tipped it up. The water came in and it flooded the boat. Yeah, and it sunk. Luckily nobody was hurt, but it's very tragic when you hear this sort of thing, when you see the damage that water can do to the engine and electrics and all the interior of the boat, woodwork, and it's devastating. And I'd imagine it must be so upsetting if it could be somebody's home or someone's pride and joy. Yeah, so it's sad to see that. But we weren't actually there on the day it happened. We were out for the day. But we were told that there was a queue of about 20 boats we wanted to get through, because it was the bank holiday. It was very, very busy. So yeah, so very, very sad. Fortunately for us, the following day the lock had been cleared, and we gingerly went into the lock and made sure we were well away from the lock gates as we adjusted the water level and went down through. Finally, we cruised the last few miles and a couple of locks into Shardlow. This is the last lock we do, which goes down into Shardlow port, and there's a navigation pub just beside this lock. So Shardlow was an important 18th century river port for the transshipment of goods to and from the Trent and to the Trent and Mersey Canal. And during its heyday, from the 1770s to the 1840s, it became known as Rural Rotterdam, or Little Liverpool, because of its connections with the North Sea, basically via the Trent. Today, Shardlow is considered to be one of the most complete examples of a canal village, and there's over 50 grade 2 listed buildings. There's a large marina and campsite, and there's many surviving pubs. I think there's 7 or 8 pubs in the village. For the size of the village, it's quite surprising how they've all survived. But there's not one grocery shop, so it's quite surprising there's not, because there's a lot of visitors here. And they hold an inland port festival at Shardlow. It started in 2021, and that proved to be very, very popular. And they're holding one again this September. There's lots of boat traders that trade on the cut. Some of the pubs do live music. There's a craft fair, and there's lots going on. So it's well worth a look if you're in the area. And I'll put a link down below to the Shardlow Inland Port Festival. if you're interested in going in September. So that's it for this journey. The next one will be us leaving Shardlow and leaving the Trent and Mersey, going on to the Trent for just a short spell before we turn in to explore the Erewash Canal. So that will be the subject of the next vlog. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching.